Good afternoon. Today's talk will be the second part of my talk on Tagore's play, The Post Office. I'll begin today's talk by giving you a very brief plot summary, as it were, of what actually happens in the play. The Post Office begins with a character called Madhav Dotto speaking with the doctor about a young boy with fever. The doctor says the boy cannot go outside or he will get worse, his condition will deteriorate. The doctor even quotes scripture and proverbs that support his recommended treatment, and he leaves. After he leaves, Thakurda, another character, a wanderer with whom Madhav is acquainted, comes in. Madhav tells Thakurda that his wife has wanted to adopt a son and now they have finally done so. The boy is an orphan who is distantly related to them, something of a nephew on his wife's side of the family. Madhav confides to Thakurda that he did not want to adopt a son lest the boy foolishly spend all the money Madhav has worked so hard to earn all of his life. Now, however, he loves the boy so much that he does not care. Madhav also makes Thakur the promise not to allow the boy to play outside and not to excite him too much, because in that case his physical condition may deteriorate. Thakurda agrees and promises to come back and only play quietly with the boy indoors. After Thakurda leaves, the sick boy, who is named Amol, speaks with his uncle and adopted father Madhav. Madhav, Amal questions the doctor's orders, but Madhav says that the doctor knows best because he is well read and is an educated man. Amol concedes that he has not read anything and therefore must not know anything. Madhav then tells Amol that he can sit and read his whole life and become a pandit. Amal scoffs at the suggestion because he does not want to sit still as he is being forced to do now. Instead, Amol wants to travel the whole world and see all that is there to see. Madhav laughs at this, tells Amol that he has to go to work, and makes the boy promise not to go outside when he is away because the doctor has asked that Amol should remain strictly indoors because of his ill health. Now Amol sits at the window when the curd seller passes by, calling out to sell his product. Amol calls him but then says he has no money. Amol does not want to buy curds. He just wants to hear about the curd seller's village and to be taught the song that the man uses to sell his curds. He wants to learn how to sell curds when he grows up, walking around and singing. The curd seller tells the boy that he should become a pandit instead. In reply, Amol says, I will never become a pandit. Amol talks about how he feels exhilarated when he hears the curd seller's song. The curd seller is touched and gives Amol some curd. He then continues on his way and Amol sings the merchant's song after he leaves. In the meantime, the watchman passes by and Amol calls him over. The watchman tells Amol that the boy should not shout out to him. He should be scared of him because he can arrest the boy and take him away. However, rather than being scared by this, the thought excites Amol and the boy asks the watchman about his gong, which is used to announce the time. From this conversation, the watchman makes some sort of a pun about mortality, though apparently Omol does not appear to understand it. If he does not understand the joke, then his answer indicates that he wants to die in order to be free. Omol asks the watchman about the building across the street, which the watchman says is the new post office. The boy is entranced by the idea of becoming a mail carrier for the Raja, the local ruler, traveling the world and delivering messages. The watchman sees the headman coming their way and he leaves before getting into trouble for stopping to chat. Before going, the watchman promises to return to talk with Amol the next day. As the headman approaches, Amol talks to himself, imagining what it would be like to receive letters from the Raja. Amol cannot read, so he hopes that his auntie will read the letters to him. Better yet, he will save them and read them once he is older and he has learned the art of letter reading. Amol then calls out to the headman. The boy asks the headman to tell the mail carriers his name and address in case the Raja sends him a letter. The headman, who is not very polite or nice, teases Amol about being Raja's friend. He says to himself that Madhav and his family have gone too far, pretending to be acquainted with royalty just because Madhav has been successful in business. He wants to be sure that they get their comeuppance for such audacity. The headman promises insincerely to speak with the Raja and have his letter delivered to Amol. In reality, he plans to speak to the Raja about Madhav's pretensions. So after the headman goes, a girl walks by and Amol calls her over. She says her name is Shudha. She is on her way to pick flowers for her father, who sells the garlands she makes from them. Amol wishes he could go with her and says he would pick the best and hardest to reach flowers for her. Shudha says she would love to sit all day like Amol, but she must go before all the best flowers have been picked. Amol makes Shudha promise to return and he asks her to bring him a flower, promising to pay her once he is grown up and has money of his own. Shudha agrees, swearing not to forget, and says that Amol will be remembered. Next, a group of village boys wanders by. Amol asks where they are going and what they are going to play. The boys invite him to come along, but Amol tells that he is not allowed outside because he is ill. Instead, he says he will give the boys all of his toys as long as they promise to come and play outside of his window every morning. He also asks them to send one of the mail carriers to see him. The boys agree and continue on their way. Although it is early in the day, Amol already feels tired and the effects of his fever begins to show. In the next act, we see that Madhav says that Amol looks weak from spending all day by the window befriending most of the town people. Madhav says that the doctor will no longer allow Amol to sit by the window. Amol protests this because the fakir, who is a mystical holy man, is coming to see him. As it turns out, the fakir is actually Thakurda in costume, in a disguise. Madhav lets the man in and Thakurda sits on Amol's bed. Thakurda tells the boy stories of the fantastical parrot island. He promises to take Amol there when he is cured of his disease. Amol asks Madhav about the curd seller who has stopped by and left some curd for him. Madhav says the man's niece is getting married, so he will be too busy to stop by for a while. Amol replies that the curd seller promised him that he would marry his niece. Thakurda jokes that the man probably has many nieces. Exasperated with their nonsense talk, Madhav leaves the room. Amol then asks Thakurda if the Raja has sent him a letter yet, and Thakurda says that he heard that it has been sent. They talk about meeting with the Raja and of the art of begging. Amol declares that he will beg the Raja to be made into a mail carrier. Thakurda then asks Amol why it makes him so unhappy to stay at home, to which Amol replies that the thought of waiting for the Raja's letter makes it more bearable. In the meantime, Madhav comes back into the room and worries that they will get into trouble because the village headman has written to the Raja. Madhav states that according to the headman, Amol is saying that the Raja has established his post office only to write letters to you or correspond with you. Amol is worried by this, but Thakurda says the Raja cannot possibly be mad in anger with a little boy. Amol starts to feel faint. His eyesight is beginning to fail him, and it is hard for him to see. As the three sit there, the doctor comes in to check on Amol, who says, "All my pain seems to be going away." The doctor says that this is not a good sign for Amol. He thinks the boy has gotten too much air and sun through the window, and that he has had too many visitors. Amol appears to fall asleep, and Madhav asks the doctor. He says, "This child, who is not my own, but whom I have loved as my own, will he be taken from me?" Before the doctor is able to answer, he sees the headman coming and hurries to leave before the headman sees him. The doctor promises to send some medicine for Amol. When the headman enters, he calls for Amol, but Thakurda tells the man to be quiet because the child is sleeping. Amol then appears to awake and says that he was not actually asleep, that he could hear everything going around him, and that he could even hear his dead parents speaking to him. The headman accuses Madhav and his family of being pretentious. He ridicules them and hands Amol a blank page, saying that it is a letter from the Raja. Amol says he doesn't see any writing, but he thinks that this is because his eyes are failing him. Thakurda pretends to read the fake letter, telling Amol that it says the Raja will come to see him, along with the royal physician. Amol replies that he can already hear the Raja's herald announcing the Raja's arrival. The headman laughs, believing Amol to be delirious. Soon, however, someone is banging on the door, and the Raja's herald enters, announcing that the Raja will be arriving at midnight. In the meantime, he has sent his physician ahead of him. The physician enters and says that the room must be opened up, that the boy needs fresh air. Amol tells the physician that he is feeling fine. He says, "My illness is gone, my pain is gone. Now everything is open. I can see all the stars shining on the far side of darkness." Madhav whispers to Amol that when the Raja comes, he should be sure to ask him for something for the family, indicating that he would like money or favors from the Raja. Amol says that he will ask to be made a mail carrier. Madhav groans. The herald tells the family to prepare a meal for the Raja when he arrives. But then the physician says that there is no need and that he tells everyone to be calm. He says that Amol's sleep is coming. To quote him, he says, I will sit beside his pillow as he drifts off. Blow out the lamp. Let the starlight come in. His sleep has arrived. Oblivious, Madhav asks Thakurda why he is so hushed, with your palms pressed together like a statue. Madhav says, I feel a kind of dread. Why has the room been darkened? What use is starlight? To which Thakurda responds, be quiet, unbeliever, do not speak. Sudha arrives and asks for Amol, but the physician says that he has fallen asleep, though he really means that Amol is dead. Sudha puts the flowers she brought for Amol into his hand. She asks the physician to whisper something in his ear. She tells the physician to tell Amol, and she says, tell him Sudha has not forgotten you. And the curtain of the play falls. The play ends. So this is roughly the plot structure of, or plot summary as it were, of the post office. Now, when we read this particular play, there are a few things which immediately comes to us or our minds as readers. It is clear that this play is not a play of action. Not much of an action takes place in terms of physicality, but it is a play of feeling, a play of some form of a delight, and a play of some form of a quest for identity. The play attempts to synthesize or bring together the rhythmic intensity of Western tragedies with the platitude of Indian folk and classical drama. Equally remarkable in the play is the simplicity and naturalness of language and the restraint exercised by the poet, who builds on the play a substructure of sentimentalism. However, the simplicity of the post office is deceptive. The play is roughly 25 pages long, consisting of brief acts, each act containing one scene, and it tells the straightforward story of a boy who is sick and then dies. But beneath this apparently simple plot framework lies a carefully planned meditation on death. The play's simplicity to some readers may appear to come from its vagueness. We don't know, for example, Amol's exact age. The nature of his illness remains a mystery. We do not hear his aunt's name. We do not know anything about his uncle Madhav's profession, the name of the town in which he lives, or the village from where he came, the illness that killed his parents, and the time period in which the play takes place. So there is a deliberate lack of detail in the play, which gives the play a universal feeling and appeal. In other words, the indication is that almost anyone in any symbolic state of existence or metaphorical state of existence could be Amol. The play's diction or language is also very simple. For instance, in a play about death, the word death in all of its variants never once appears. Also, the symbolic storyline heightens the symbolic effect. It lacks suspense or an intricate plot. There are no subplots, as it were, or as we see in plays. It lacks significant historical or political context. We don't know anything about the historical or political contexts or background of this play, and the characters in the play apparently do not experience any discernible emotional or spiritual growth. So this roughly is the post office for us. And as we read the play, we understand that much of its symbolism is centered around the concept of man's existence and death, and what death means both to a man individually and to the people living with the man. Thank you.